Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe Morgan, and you're listening to the Nine Ball Roundtable. This is a show where five friends, nine balls, gather together to have a little bit of fun talking about a variety of topics, everything from video games to sports, politics, and more. Guys, why don't you all introduce yourselves?
No,
That was Brad.
hi. I'm Kyle Queen. I am a father of two, and I am a school teacher. Yay!
Hi, I'm Uno.
He's the one that makes for the ninth.
That's all.
I'm Daniel. Currently unemployed, but intelligent as all get out.
I'm Brad
Brad.
McPeak.
And
I'm so ugly that the camera broke. So
No, that's actually his face.
So couldn't get his. We had some technical difficulties getting him running this week, but he will be here anyway. So with the non-ball theme, I think the first person to start for the night is going to be breaking us into the game, and I'm going to break tonight. My topic is video games, and what I wanted to bring to you guys to discuss is the idea of different content delivery methods. So like the way that it used to be.
Uno's face.
The way that it used to be was you either bought a console game and you got the cartridge home and that was it. You never got anything more. Or, if you bought a PC game, you could eventually buy some expansion packs, that sort of thing. Now we have DLC and day one patches, or we have free-to-play games where you don't even have to pay for the game. So, what do you guys think about the way things are, the way things are going? You know, you've got the Destiny DLC that they've announced coming up here in, September, October, August? I don't know. It's going to be like $40 just for one little expansion.
I will say that one thing that I will miss, I know that everything's going to digital download, and I mean that's the way of the future, but one thing that I will definitely miss is that we're going to have nothing to be able to turn into a gaming store eventually and be able to get some kind of money back on what it is that you purchased that you can put it towards something else. Because I know that for me, especially in college, now that I have two kids, gaming isn't a cheap hobby. So to be able to have the games return back in and actually get something back, that's kind of huge. I'm really reluctant to download anything via digital copy. Just so I won't get that money in return. You know what I mean?
true.
Yes. Brad, nice.
My biggest problem with the whole thing going digital is, like Joe was saying, used to it was on a cartridge or even just a disc, and the whole game had to be complete, polished, and finished. Now, what you're seeing, I think, is more of, and they may not be doing it intentionally, I don't know, but you have a lot of games that come out, and on day one they have
Broken.
terrible issues, and it's easy for them to say, oh well, we can put a patch out to fix that. Once the game launches, we have to have it launched by this date. And instead of taking the time and fixing it and getting a complete 100% finished product, they'll put something out that's 90% complete, and then just we'll put a patch out.
Did anyone fall asleep?
In the case of the PC version,
No, I'm awake.
Oh, okay.
in the case of the PC version of Batman, it came out dead on arrival. There's no, they've taken that down off of the Steam store, and they've said it's going to be months before that ever goes back for sale on the PC version.
They were supposed to have DLC for it too, coming out with the.
They have sold
Batwoman.
a season pass.
For the PC version too.
Yep.
Oh,
Here's
dang.
my opinion. I don't even know what you are talking about. Y'all just tell me what game to buy, and I'll play it with you.
Yes.
And
Okay. So I'll go ahead and throw my. I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate in here. So I think the delivery systems that you were describing, not only with the digital download, but also buying a physical copy of a game in store, they're making it okay. So like free to play, right? Free to play has kind of been a MOBA kind
Yeah,
of.
MOBA.
That's been more or less what it's been for. The rest of the games that have been
Smite, League of Legends, yeah.
yeah, the rest of the games that have been free to download have been like if you've got like Xbox Gold or what's the one for PlayStation, the PlayStation Pass,
PlayStation Plus.
PlayStation Plus. So it's giving you an opportunity. Yeah, it's giving you an opportunity to receive some content that you might not have otherwise played, and you're getting it free as a benefit for having the new gen system. Now, obviously, you've got games like Halo 5, or not Halo 5, but Halo Master Chief Collection that got released without a beta first, which is another kind of new era style of gaming that's coming about, is that we're going to have betas for everything. So you're going to know what the game is before it even comes out. I mean, you're going to have an opportunity to play. I think it's a good thing. I think the delivery systems are varied, and I think it's kind of going to stay that way. I mean, the digital download may be something that is prominent right now. I don't know if that's going to take over the industry, though.
Oh, I think it will. But to your point earlier, Danny, you were talking about the free games that like PlayStation Plus and Gold members get. They're not really free. I mean, you pay for the subscription. So, I mean, it comes with that payment of the subscription. So you pay for PlayStation Plus, you pay for your Xbox yearly membership or whatever. So technically you are paying for them. It's just an extremely reduced rate compared to
Yeah, but who's getting the money for that? Is PlayStation getting the money for that, or is the game manufacturer getting the money for that?
It's a deal, kind of both. I mean, Sony will go
Like
out
iTunes?
Yeah.
Sony will go out and cater to these indie companies and pay them an upfront lump sum to say, hey, we want to give this to everybody that's got our PlayStation Plus. And then we're going to, you got money in hand, we're going to go ahead and pay you now, you'll have that. Two, you're going to have a huge audience that's going to download your game and at least give it a try that might not otherwise try it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, going back to your point on Destiny, I mean, I can understand why they're doing it. I mean, it's been a year since it's going to be a year since the release when they released this. I mean, they're going to get the money. They're going to have the same amount of people buying the. Is it a whole new game, or is it a DLC that you got to pay the $40 for or
It's
whatever?
just a big DLC the way I understand it.
I mean, I can understand. I mean, they're in this business to make money. They're not in here to lose money. So I can understand that, but the game, to me, the game would be worth doing that, but I'm not going to do it unless all of you guys buy it, because I'm not going to play it by myself. So,
well, I think one way or the other, it's going to be a moot point no matter what. Think about the progression. Okay, it started off with cartridges like we talked about, right? After cartridges, it was a complete game. It was what was put out was what everybody bought. Well, then when they started able to do in downloads, you had DLC. Well, now DLC is something that's so common. We expect it for just about everything. There's no one else anymore that goes, oh, DLC, I can't believe they're trying to make money off of that. No one does that. That's what people used to say years ago. Like, who's going to pay for this? It's extra content. They should have put it in the game, Well, now everyone expects DLC. Well, I mean, you give it 2-3 more years, I guarantee you everyone's going to be expecting digital download for everything, and they're going to be ticked off when they have to go to a store and buy a game.
I very rarely buy physical copies anymore myself.
Well,
You don't get out much, you're pretty
I don't have a problem with DLC expansions. I'm just talking more along the lines of it's more than just Arkham Knight. There's a lot of other games too that the Assassin's Creed Unity, it launched and they had all kinds of problems with it. There's another one too, right around that same time. I have no problem with DLC expansions. If you don't want it, you don't have to buy it. If you want the extra content, you'll buy it. Like with Arkham Knight, I bought the season pass. I have that. The first DLC came out today for season pass holders. I haven't tried it yet, but I wanted it, so I paid for it.
Did we mention Halo Master Chief Collection? How bad that was?
Daniel mentioned that.
No, let's not talk about it.
Dude,
No.
so bad.
That's my thing. They didn't do a beta for that. They didn't test it out. They just went on they just went on the assumption, well, Halo is such a loved thing that it's gonna sell, and of course it did. And then it was a busted product. They just had to continuously try and patch and fix.
It took 6 months for multiplayer to work.
Yeah.
Dang.
I will say that now that they have went back and fixed some things, I think it's been a learning experience for them. Bonnie, what's her last name, Brad?
Ross.
Bonnie Ross has come out and stated that they will never again release anything in the Halo canon or otherwise without a beta for it. So they learned that beta testing is a big way to get feedback on their product. Now, to what you were saying earlier, Kyle, as far as like we pay for it, so the free content, is being paid for essentially. I'll agree somewhat, but I'll also say that, think about when we had the 360 and you had the Xbox Gold membership. You weren't getting free. I wasn't getting free to play games given to me all the time, but you were still paying for the membership because of the perks of it. So whether you pay for a membership on Xbox 360 or you pay on a new gen system, at least now you're getting the benefit of having these games to be able to play that you otherwise wouldn't.
Right, I agree.
They did start the free games on PS3 and 360, but it was late in the game. Like, it was years after Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus came about, they started the free game giveaways.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and they've generally been like indie games too. But think about the one they just released, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I mean, that's a pretty big title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Xbox
Xbox
was
got
pretty
that
awesome.
one.
That was Xbox 360. Yeah.
And then this month, Sony got Rocket League, which it's a $20 title if you don't get it on PlayStation Plus, but that game is a blast.
It looks fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's enjoyable. For sure.
I actually played some of Black Flag. It's pretty cool.
The only other thing I'll say about the digital downloads is my problem with it is, all right, you buy something digitally, you download it to your console. Now, I'm not sure about Xbox. I know with PlayStation, though, when you sign into your PlayStation, it verifies all of the license that you have for all of your content. Well, if your internet's out, or say like with me when I moved here and didn't have internet for a little while, I couldn't play anything digitally. Even though I paid for the game and I was supposed to own the copy of that game, since they couldn't verify the license, I couldn't play it. So with me, I'm more of a hard copy disc person still because, if the internet's out, what if the internet goes out and they're having problems getting it going again? It's out for 3 days. Well, if you have everything digital, you're not playing anything.
Do you remember Xbox when they first came out saying that they were going to release the Xbox One, saying that you had to be always connected?
Yes.
They reneged on that, saying that they just didn't have to be because PlayStation wasn't going to have to be. They got to compete. I think that's a stupid way to go. I mean, because you're going to have people out there that don't have access to internet.
Right.
All the time. I mean, like you were just talking about, you want to be able to play your games. I think that's kind of where the line needs to be drawn.
Right. Well, and there are single-player games that you don't. You shouldn't have to be online in order to play it sitting on your couch. And that's a big issue when you've got somebody that doesn't have a connection and they can't sit down and play because the information's being broadcast over the internet.
Exactly. I completely agree. That was fun.
Or you could just buy a generator and be prepared.
Yeah. You're the end of the world, yeah. Where's your bunker hidden?
Still got to get my Halo on.
I can't tell you.
Oh, man.
Uno keeps saying if there's an apocalypse, we should all come to Texas, but I'm quite sure that's the last place I'm headed.
It's a long ways away for me to go.
Hey, we don't want you here. We don't want you here, believe me.
I'm going to go to my Uncle Howard's and Aunt Sue's. We're going to live there for 30 years.
All right, guys, let's move on to the next topic. Who wants to volunteer to go next?
I got it. Okay, so recently, all of us at 9Ball, we went and got to watch Jurassic World. Actually, I got to watch half of it because I had to leave half of it.
Yes.
Jurassic World. It was great. My question for you guys is, what did you think about Jurassic World #1, and #2? How do you think it compared to Jurassic Park? And do you think they paid enough homage to it?
Who wants to take
Anybody?
Oh, Lord. Like,
I think
Jurassic World #1?
Jurassic Park #1, you mean?
That's what Kyle said.
That was Jurassic World #1.
I know.
I think that was I liked it more than Mad Max. Now, I know Daniel's going to say that I'm mentally handicapped, and that's completely ridiculous. But I felt like Jurassic World captured something that Jurassic Park 2 and 3 totally lost from the original. And that was, I mean, I don't know, that sense of awe and wonder and freaking out. Like, there are scenes in Jurassic World where I'm just totally like, oh, man, like holding my breath, edge of my seat, and it just... It made me feel like I was a kid again watching Jurassic Park for the first time.
What did you think about the re-engineering of the dinosaurs, though? Do you think that fit in with kind of the canon of everything?
With the way that society has gone, been doing genetic engineering and things like that, they were talking about genetic engineering in the original Jurassic Park, so that's really not...
The whole movie is based on genetic re-engineering.
Right.
Yeah, but it's taking existing DNA and just recreating it, not creating new DNA.
No, they had to add. You remember the first one? They had to add somebody's. I don't remember what
Fraud
it was.
DNA.
Yeah,
Was it Newman?
Newman. I don't know. I thought
you
I
didn't
thought it
say
was
the
a
magic
really
word.
good movie. I've seen it twice now. I went and saw it with my son. He really liked it, and I liked the first one. You know, the original Jurassic Park. Number 2 and 3 were. 2 was awful. 3 was not too bad, but I don't know. I have a hard time believing that Chris Pratt can train raptors. They're freaking dinosaurs. I mean, that's like trying to train a tiger. Ask Siegfried how that
Or
worked
a
out for him.
2-year-old.
Well, I mean, they're genetically altered dinosaurs, though. So, in theory, if you're altering genetics with something, you could take out some of the wildness
The primal
of an
traits.
animal and add in more domesticated type animal.
Yeah.
That
That's
makes sense.
That's
Like
an
a kitten.
interesting idea. Like a kid. Well, no, that is an interesting thing, because if you think about how dogs are bred, for instance, I mean, they started out
That is true.
how long ago I couldn't even tell you, but the fact that they started out as a wild creature that was like singular in form, and then was bred, mixed breed down to where now you've got pure breed dogs that are half retarded. And that's not to be mean. That's to say that they have, honest to God, bred animals for looks in such a fashion that they've lost their intelligence. They've given them physical things that are detrimental to the animal. A lot of them have trouble breathing. Bulldogs have trouble breathing. So that's an interesting look at it. Now, for me personally, with the movie, I will say, for a summer blockbuster, it delivered. I thought that it had some really good action in it. I thought that it did pay homage to the first one in some good forms. But I will say this about it, right? So when Jurassic Park originally came out, I was a child. I mean, I can't remember how old I was because I don't remember the year that it came out. But
In your mother's womb.
as a child, when I watched Jurassic Park, I had that kind of sense of like angst and stuff watching it, like Joe was talking about. Now with this one and being older, I didn't get that same feeling, and I don't think it had to do with the movie in particular. I think it just had to do with my style of movie that I prefer. And Mad Max,
Age,
much
maturity,
more,
stuff like
right? And Mad Max, much more so with the action and kind of seeing something new. I just think excited me more.
Well, oh, go ahead, Brad.
Well, I was just going to comment on the movie. Jurassic Park. We were 6 when it came out. By the way, damn, it was 1993 when it came out.
Okay.
So it was like
28.
so like with what you're saying, it's not, Jurassic World didn't deliver the same type of feeling that Jurassic Park did, in that sense of, Jurassic Park was much more terrifying to me because I was 6 years old. Now I'm 28. It's not going to be as terrifying. But I do think,
6-year-old's mind. What do you think you'd feel
Right.
the same way then?
now, sorry, but to say now, today with Jurassic World, I feel like with kids, 6, 8, 10, 11 years old, it should, unless there's something not right with them. Maybe they're exposed to terrible things early. I wasn't. I was kind of sheltered, and so I wasn't exposed to a lot of horrifying things.
Oh yeah,
But,
my daughter won't even watch it, man.
The purebred.
Right. See, like in Jurassic Park, I'll never forget when Samuel L. Jackson gets eaten in the arm. The arm comes down on what's her name's shoulder, and she's like, "Oh, great." She's like, "All relaxed. Oh, yes, somebody's here." And she turns around, it's just his arm. That terrified me as a kid. I was just like, "Oh my God, the dinosaur bit him off at the arm." And I feel like with Jurassic World, with all of the dinosaurs, especially the pterodactyl type things, where they're flying into the park and just picking people off.
With those big old freaking T-Rex heads.
I feel like as a kid that would terrify me again.
Well, I'll say this is that going back to Daniel's point, I feel like that we didn't have movies when I was a kid. We had like slideshows, but I feel like they've dumped on a lot of my childhood movies and have redone them. And but I thought this one was one that
Dumped
they did a
and
really
smeared.
good job, redoing. I mean, all the cast was really good. The dinosaurs were really good. The story was good. The action was good. And they brought in a lot of the original movie into it. So I mean, I don't have any complaints on it. I thought it was a great movie. I'd go see it again in the theater too.
Well, that brings
I
up
think-
that brings up another point though. And think about this, okay? So when the movie came out, Brad said what, 93? So when the movie came out in 93, think of who your top A-list celebrity, big name actors are, right?
Yeah.
And they're not the ones that are in Jurassic Park, right? So you got Laura Dern, who's she's fairly well known, playing the love interest, the woman. And then you've got, I mean, can you even tell me the name of the main guy in it? Because I can see
Sam Neill.
Newman.
Sam Neill. Okay.
Sam Neill or something.
Okay.
Like that.
Grant
Sam Neill.
Imahara.
But
Yes,
then,
and no.
but then in this
Grant
one, look at the names of the celebrities, the people that they brought in, and you're talking Chris Pratt, who's hitting on every level right now. So as far as like exposure to the movie, in '93, I didn't see the movie in theaters. I saw it when it came out, and it was that sense of like, oh my gosh, when I saw it on on the television. And then this one is getting press galore because of who's in it.
That's another point, though, is that nowadays movies have to have these big name celebrities in them to do well, instead of just relying on the content of the movie. That's a whole different topic,
but here's the reason why: is because everything now is sequels. There are so many less original movies now than there ever were before, because they're trying to make money off of what they've already made.
Right, that's what I was about to say. Is Hollywood has actually came out recently. People were questioning all of their redos and their sequels and their all that. And Hollywood came out and said, "Well, we've discovered that we make more off of doing a good reboot or a redo than we do original content."
Yep.
yeah.
It's the same way in the video game industry too.
Well, but think about this though: the new Star Wars movie that's going to come out. Who of us here is not going to go see that?
Me. Just kidding.
Yeah, right. Lord Helmet? No.
Yes.
I mean, we're all going to go see that. I mean, they're going to make they're going to make so much bank off that. Disney was a genius.
Oh, it'll be huge. Yeah, it'll be huge.
Yeah.
Like my Schwartz.
I'm pretty sure that I'll be in the theaters probably 3 or 4 times watching it.
Well, what they've really managed to do though, and they're remaking. Don't get me wrong, they're remaking movies from the 60s and 70s as well, and they've done some good things with some of those in the last couple of years. But they've really hit like the nostalgia of the post millennials, because a lot of the movies that we watched when we were younger, they're bringing those back because we're geeking out on them. They know that they're movies that we're going to go see, like you said, Kyle and Brad. And we're going to, because the culture, the kind of culture that we've had bred into us, is that like that's the stuff that was awesome. Let's see that done now with better graphics, all this sort of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Nice job, guys. You answered my questions.
All right, who wants to take the topic next, guys?
I think Uno should.
Okay, I'll take mine. Okay, I'm
Okay.
not prepared at all for this, but I guess my topic is sports. While y'all gave me sports,
I guess my
hey, I'll tell you this much right now on sports. I played sports my whole life. And I used to keep up with them, but now I have no interest in watching sports. It's boring to me. Unless the Rangers are doing good, I like to watch them. But okay, speaking of baseball, we're not going to talk about baseball. Right now, as we speak, there is a soccer game going on about 10 miles down the road from me at the Dell Diamond. Y'all know y'all know the Dell Diamond?
Round Rock Express.
Round Rock
AAA
Express,
affiliates
AAA
the
for
Rangers.
Rangers, exactly.
I
And
thought
there's
it was
a
the computer company.
No, the Round Rock Express is the AAA affiliate for the Texas Rangers, and it's about 10 miles down the road from me. I drive past it every day. Anyways, the max capacity in that ballpark is about 10,000 people, maybe 11,000 people, and I was there the night that they probably had the most ever. I think there was like 10,500. It was not that the Royd Master himself, Roger Clemens, was pitching. And our president, our company, was retiring, so our whole company was there that night. So anyways, so tonight I'm trying to think of who the team is. I think it's called the Pachucas and the Chivas are playing, and it's going to be sold out. They're going to put extra chairs down the field, and they're playing. It's two teams from Mexico, 2 club teams from Mexico playing a soccer game on a baseball field in Texas when it's 99 degrees, 38% humidity here, and that place will be packed. It's already packed. It's probably already over by now. So don't drive down the road right now. There's probably a bunch of drunks. Anyways, here's my question. How can you fit a soccer field, because a soccer field is about the same length as a football field, but it's wider, right? It's like 100 yards, about 60 yards or something. I have no idea. But how they
Brad's
fit
the
that
only
on
one
a
of us that's
baseball
played.
field? I mean, I think left field is 380 feet, 400 center field maybe. I don't know how big that field is, but it's.
Well, I'm gonna.
What's y'all's opinion on this? I am not a soccer fan. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
I'm gonna start off with saying it's not a game. It's just called a match.
Yeah. Activity is what I would call it. Yes.
It's soccer. Soccer doesn't play games; they play matches. It's also not a field; it's called a pitch. But the soccer dimensions, if I'm not mistaken, are 115 yards long by 74, 75 yards wide. But it also depends. You know, a lot of these stadiums now are.
Can you put that into cubits for me?
No, not. And I'm not even 100% sure that's correct, but I think it's like 115 by 75.
That sounds about right.
But, you know, a lot of these stadiums now, they're made for multi-use things. They can take out the outfield walls. It just depends on how the field is made. Now, I'm sure if they go from home plate towards center field, if that's the lengthwise, it's going to be plenty long. If your field's 390 foot from the corner of home plate to center field, that's.
But I don't know how they'd be able to get it that wide. Is my question. I mean, it's a
75 yards. Yeah.
I mean, if they start from home plate, I guarantee you the bullpens. I mean, not the bullpen. The dugouts are not 75 yards away from each other. They're going to be hitting the dugouts.
Oh, well, you got to think.
There's only maybe 20 yards from the foul line.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got it figured. If they're going to do it, I'm sure they had it all figured how they could fit it in.
Yeah, I was just curious. I've been thinking about soccer a lot because it seems to be, very popular. And when you talk about the someone driving a minivan, you always call them a soccer mom. But we call them soccer mom, but no one in America grows up to play soccer. They play baseball, they play basketball, they play football. So why do we call them soccer moms? That's the next question. Go.
Oh my gosh, Uno, you're hitting on
question.
You're hitting on something completely. I'll say this, okay? I wasn't a soccer fan growing up. I didn't have anything to do with soccer. Soccer wasn't even offered in the community that Joe and I grew up in. But I will say, okay, so I go down to Honduras for a mission trip, a spring break mission trip. And the kids in the orphanage that we visited didn't have much, if anything, other than the clothes that they were wearing, which was the same shoes, same shorts, same shirt every single day, right? But the one thing that they all had was a round ball that they could go out and kick. Now, we wonder why soccer is a world dominating sport, and I know Uno calls it a communist activity, being facetious, but I will say that it is bred out of the only thing that people have. I mean, if nothing else, you can find a round ball somewhere. Even a basketball, but you may not have a basketball goal, but you can kick a ball around. And so these kids grow up super athletic as all get out, and they learn how to play soccer because it's the only thing that they see, and they know how to use a round ball. So I think the popularity in America is growing. I don't think it'll ever quite reach, like it is in Europe or as it is in, Latin America, but I think it's growing, and I think the World Cups have done a lot. The last couple have done quite a bit to kind of push the sport forward.
The U.S. women's team has helped with that quite a bit.
Well, the rumor legend, if you will, that over in China back years ago, like when they had the big opium dens and all that going on, that people used to play soccer over there with severed heads. I don't know how true that is, but the people they would be in these opium dens on these opium binges. Somebody would get into a fight, they'd cut somebody's head off, and they'd kick the head around for a ball.
What if they would have kicked you in the face? That's just a risk we were willing to take.
Good night.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm sorry, I didn't have much more than that. The World Cup for the women just ended last year. The World Cup was it Argentina or Brazil?
Brazil.
It was in Brazil, right?
Brazil.
And Germany won last year, right? Well, see,
Right.
USA didn't even make it to the quarterfinals. They made it to the round before that, whatever the Elite Eight or whatever you want to call it. And
But here's,
but
I
it was
was
still popular, man. I mean, I have sports bars here that were just jam packed last year. People watching it, and it also the World Cup before that was in Cameroon or somewhere, and so
South Africa.
South Africa, yeah. So it was the air time was like at 3 a.m. or something, so nobody here was watching it, but unless there's like a diehard, unless you're Brad.
Well, I mean, I played soccer 1 year growing up, and I was never big on it. What actually got me liking soccer was video games. I started playing FIFA with a bunch of my friends that were into it, and once I learned the rules and mechanics and there's actually set design plays, I always just thought, like Udo thinks, that you're just out there kicking the ball around until you get somebody open to score. That's not how it really is. You have different formations. There's different set design plays. And that's what got me into it now. Is just from playing FIFA on consoles.
Well, I kicked in when I played football growing up. I was a kicker, and when I went to college, yes, I deep snapped it to the holder, then ran back, then kicked it. That's how quick I was. And but so I like kicking the ball. And, I tried playing intramural soccer in college. And I was like, man, there's way too much running for no scoring. I play basketball. I like to run back and forth. I have a chance of scoring. Soccer, never had a shot.
Yeah, but you talk about like what Daniel was talking about earlier. It's born out of.
It's not a fat guy sport.
It's born out of lack of tools. You think about baseball. Baseball was predated by stickball. I mean, stickball was something that was easy to pick up and play because you had a small ball that you could find readily available. Probably it could be anything. You had a stick. You could find a stick off the yard. You didn't need a glove. You didn't need anything like that. You play stickball, right? So I mean, think about that. It's completely understandable why people all around the world want to play soccer because it's a quote unquote cheap sport to be able to pick up and play, and it's something that who knows, maybe one day you get good enough. I mean, that's a chance. That's your ticket out of the life that you may be in that you don't want to be in.
And you just proved my point. That it's a communist activity.
Oh man.
Speaking of communist activities, how about we move on to politics?
Yes,
I'm just kidding. I love soccer.
Politics, huh?
There we go.
Oh God, here we go.
I've got politics this week. Lovely politics. What I thought we would discuss. We've discussed it a little bit. I'm sure everybody knows what it is now. But the Jade Helm 15, the controversial military exercise. It actually starts tomorrow. The military exercises start tomorrow. This last week has been the last movement of the troops and the equipment and supplies and different things. And my question really is to you all is, there's a lot of crazy conspiracies out there, that this is setting the stage for martial law and for government takeover. I personally don't think it's 1,200 troops. That's an awful small sample to try to do anything that large scale on. And plus, it's in a lot of small rural areas. I feel like if you're going to set up martial law, you're going to have to get major cities under control first. Mm-hmm. So if they were doing it in Texas, they would have to get Austin or Dallas and that whole area established first before they could get the rural areas. Wouldn't be the main concern. My whole problem with it is just the simple fact that they're doing this large scale operation. Originally, there was reports coming out saying they weren't getting private landowners permission. They were just saying they were going to do it anyhow. Recently, stuff has been coming out saying that they have been getting private landowners permission, and anybody that refuses that are not going to do anything on their land, who knows if that's true. But I guess my question for you all is really just what do you think about the whole, are you okay with them doing this large-scale military exercise on our land, outside of public lands or bases designed for this type of thing? And do you think it is something to do with martial law, and are they testing it to see how it's going to work, or what is your all's thoughts?
Well, so look, I have to ask a couple questions first then. The first question I have is, Is this going across military branches, or is this just one specific military branch?
It's multiple. There's 1,200 total.
Multiple branches.
I believe
Okay.
there's Navy SEALs. There's Green Berets. I know those
Army
two.
Rangers.
Army Rangers.
Well, and the goal of this whole exercise is to help prevent attacks, or what would happen if people were to attack our land. Like, that's how they're playing it, right? Like how we would defend in that situation.
Looking at the map, it looks like they're playing it up like, I mean, the states that they've chosen are basically desert wasteland.
Some parts are desert area.
of
They
it
did
are,
choose parts for desert area.
If
They
you
also
only saw Bastrop where they're at, it's
Well,
gorgeous, man. It's
that's
all
what I was about to
pine
say.
trees.
Some of the parts in Texas, Joe, they have been chosen because they're wooded, highly wooded terrain. The parts in Arizona and West Texas are the areas, in Southern California are the areas they've chosen as the deserts.
Yeah,
Desert
West
setup.
Texas is definitely a desert.
And let's be fair,
Yes.
a lot of our theater of operations over the last 20 years has been in desert. So I don't know. It's easy to get riled up and freaked out. When I first heard about it, which was only in the last few weeks, I thought, well, that's pretty creepy. I mean, it'll send chills up your spine thinking about it. But at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah, I
don't know.
guarantee you they've been pulling off exercises like this for years, though. It's just never been publicized.
Not on this
never been to this
scale.
scale. Right?
This is the largest scale, and the exercises they usually do are only on publicly owned government lands or bases. This is the first time of this kind of thing, this scale that they're going to do on private lands. Another thing, the kind of the map layout they have, it kind of appears like they have Texas, they have Utah, and they have parts of Southern California listed as hostile territories. They have, I believe, Arizona listed as a friendly, and New Mexico listed as leaning towards hostile. And then one other state they have listed as leaning towards friendly. And so what they're describing is it's kind of like, they're dropping these troops in. We're basically insurgents, our troops are, and they're trying to establish lines of defense. And, like the area in Southern California is surrounded by friendlies. That area they're supposedly going to be working on taking out the defiant group that's there resisting, and then they're going to work on towards like where Texas and Utah's listed as hostile. They're going to work on like infiltrating behind enemy lines, that kind of thing is what they're saying. Now they are refusing all media coverage, which I don't really understand. If you want to be open about it,
Yeah, military.
allow some media. I understand that for secret purposes they can't show everything they do because that shows everybody in the world what you're doing.
Right.
But Daniel hasn't commented. I'm curious what Daniel thinks.
I was kind of waiting, letting everybody play out their thoughts and stuff. So, two things to this. I'll start off by kind of addressing the kind of last point that you hit about this kind of like public openness and visibility and things, and we have become accustomed to having every single thing that goes on kind of put out there by the media, especially with the big news companies that you've got, your Fox, your CNN, your MSNBC, and those. So we want our government in particular, which the military is a part of, and I am a military sport, but we want them to be transparent, right? So that's kind of the first thing. But I will also say that I feel like our military sometimes has to do some things that needs to not be transparent. Now, is this one of those cases or not? I'm not sure. I feel like if they've made it something as a public spectacle, then they should be held accountable to answer for specifics on it. With that being said, I am a minor conspiracy theorist, so that may not come as any surprise to some of you guys. But if you watch Alex Jones enough, you're going to get riled up and think the government's coming after you and this, that, and the other. Now, I'm not that extreme, but I will say that martial law is something that I foresee being implemented at some point in the next maybe decade or so. And the reason being is because there's a fear of the public and it's coming from the government. Now that sounds kind of out there and crazy and conspiracy theorist, and you can think what you want, but the way that the troops have been mobilized in these exercises, and you're right, Kyle, this is not the first set of exercises that have been done. You know, Brad said it was the largest on scale, you know, the largest en masse, but they've been flying, you know, black choppers by the bunches over Dallas for, you know, the last year or so. It's been reported on numerous occasions, you know, cell phone footage of just choppers galore going over. You see out on the interstate, you can run across, you know, 30 or 40 tanks being transported. So something's going on, and something's getting riled up, and it's not just all these inner city battles that are taking place. There's more to it, and there's a fear of the public. And the reason I feel like there's a fear of the public is because there's a backlash to a lot of things that have been going on the last 8-9 years. Right. There was a backlash at the end of the
race issues, you mean?
Well, that's part of it. That's not all of it, though. There's a backlash against the government in particular, and I would say amongst the five of us that a lot of us feel the anger and all that, you know, the dissension. So there's something being riled up. Now, when it's going to come to a head, who knows? And maybe the next election fixes some of it. Who knows? You got 40 people running in the primaries for the Republican Party, so no one knows. And party lines anymore are non-decipherable. I'll say that.
That's true.
You can't tell right or left who's good or bad, or who's right or wrong, or this, that, or the other. So
yeah, unfortunately, I agree too.
I'll kind of leave it at that. I would say it's an activity that they're using for future reference, and whatever area that may be in, who knows? But they're definitely gaining some information from it.
Well, my thing that I argue with people that are all, you know, martial law people. How do you? We can't enforce the things they try to enforce now. How are you going to enforce martial law across? You know, you probably can in big cities where there's a lot of people packed into big cities, but you know, where I live right now, who's going to come out here and stop people from being out past 9 o'clock at night? They just, I don't think they have the manpower to put out a nationwide martial law. And if you know, like the state of Texas for one, if the federal government says martial law is enact, something tells me the state of Texas is going to say you can shove it.
Exactly.
We don't follow your martial law. And there's going to be some other states that would do that as well. So my thing with martial law is I just don't think there's any way they could enforce a nationwide.
And I don't think they'd be able to convince the troops, you know, because a lot of troops are,
Right.
you know, just normal guys like we are, you know, and they're not going to be. They're going to call foul on this kind of stuff and be like, we're not, you know, I'll follow orders, but this is not the orders that I want to follow.
No.
You know,
I think they'll
I'm
call politicians out on it too.
Yeah, I mean, and if they were to, you know, they have 1,200 troops here in Texas. I mean, they better bring more than that if they're in Texas if they're gonna
Just to take
instill
kudos
martial
home.
law. I mean, it's just logistically, it's impossible. I mean, they'd have to pull everybody out of the Middle East to do something. I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, I don't think they're doing anything. I mean, I live 45 minutes from Bastrop. And 35 is a major corridor coming through here, and 290, I drive through it every day, and I don't see jack squat going that way. So I don't know. I mean, and I've been to Fort Smith. I know exactly where they're at. It's right down the road from me. I don't know what the plans are, what they're training for, what they're doing. I mean, the only thing I've really ever heard of it, besides what you guys are talking about, is what our new governor, you know, told I guess whoever's in charge of this is that they're not going to put up with it. So,
Okay,
whatever that means.
So I'll kind of play back a little bit of what Brad and you and Kyle have kind of thrown out there. I completely agree. I think that martial law is something that, if implemented, would be a failure. Don't get me wrong. I think that it will be a failure. I just think that the public is too. Oh my gosh, Joe.
So real quick, I've got to show this off.
Yeah,
We're all going to be under martial law. Arsenio Hall and Sammo Hung, they're going to bring the noise.
That's great.
Okay.
But so,
Brownie with
Say hi, pregnant woman.
hi,
pregnant woman.
Hi, pregnant.
Mosh and homemade marshmallow cream.
Oh
Hey,
man,
guys.
she brought me
Yes.
some food.
That's
Thank
beautiful.
y'all for putting up with this clown.
Oh,
They
we
know what I
love
look like.
him.
Oh, man.
You could marry a fat ass.
She big.
Okay. So,
Sorry, go
anyway,
ahead, Daniel.
no, that's all good. Back to what you guys were saying, though, I
Hey, is
think
that
that
Joe?
any attempt at martial law would be a failure. With that being said, I don't think that that's going to deter somebody with enough power to try and implement it. Now, who knows who that'll be and when that'll be? But I do feel like an attempt at it is coming some point in the, like I said, in the next decade in particular. There's just been too much of two sides going back and forth, and then this kind of government fear of the public, and I think that that's going to drive it. But I do think it'll be a failure.
Well, and I think if anything, they were talking about it, that conspiracy theorists is it being a preparation for civil war. I think if anything, it's going to spark more of that idea, having these kind of exercises in a large scale and being very publicized as opposed to trying to quelch it. I mean, I don't see it being a positive. I see all the media and everything it's been blown up into only creating more dissension.
I mean, I don't
Speaking
think
of
we have-
dissension,
Oh, go ahead, Joe.
let's move on to the trick shot.
Uh-oh, who's that? Is that Daniel?
Goodness.
Joe, are you monitoring our time? And like every 25 minutes, we're going to a new thing.
No, I'm trying to
You need
keep
one of those
things
egg
flowing.
timers.
No, he's right. No, I think that last topic was a great topic. I actually think most of the topics that we've hit on tonight have been really good.
Soccer
I think,
Moms was the best.
Yes.
I think that what I've kind of done a little bit of research. I read a recent article, and it's kind of brought up some questions that I definitely want to pose to you guys. Right. So the first thing is in this article. It's about like the advance of technology and the pace at which it's advancing, right? We all know Moore's law that every 2 years your whatever doubles, so your speed doubles and all these things. So you've got technology coming out like crazy,
I guess as our resident technological expert, I guess I can say it's the density of transistors on microchips. That's what
Yeah,
it
I have
is.
no idea what the heck you're talking about. So
Every 18 months.
press on.
It's why your computers get so much faster so quick.
It's pretty
I
much
don't know. computers.
Internet
It's-
goes fast.
yeah. It's
Hey,
pretty
go
much
fast, Jenny.
it's pretty much the idea that like it doubles in speed, so everything gets that much more quick in response time, ridiculously fast. You've got high memory capacities and all these sorts of things, right? Well, with that, there's been always this idea of the search for the fountain of youth type thing. You've had people always wanting to look younger. You've got cosmetic surgeries that are outrageously expensive that are supposed to help you look younger and all this
Don't tell
sort
me
of
we're going to
stuff.
talk about what I think we're going to talk about.
It's so okay. So the title of this article was the billionaire push for immortality, right? So where this is going is there are 5 billionaires in particular, right? You've got Larry Ellison. He's the CEO of Oracle, the Oracle Corporation. You have Paul F. Glenn. I can't remember exactly what he does, but he's given a lot of money to like MIT, Harvard, Stanford, those sorts of things. These are all billionaires, by the way. You've got Dmitry Itzhov, who is the most outspoken of them all, who gives an ungodly amount of money for research and these sorts of things. You've got Peter Thiel, and you've got Sergey Brin, which is one of the co-founders of Google. And what they are doing is they are funneling ungodly amounts of money into this research for immortality. Now, here's how it starts, right? So in like the 40s, they started doing some projects where they were taking an old rat and a young rat. They were actually physically cutting them in half, and they were binding their bloodstreams to see what would happen. Now, one rat would end up reversing its youth in the old side, and the young one would become older and more decrepit looking, start losing its hair and stuff. Well, one of the things that they found out from this was that in your genes you have these things called telomeres, which are like the elasticity of your genes, and they start to wear out as you get older. And
That's because I get extra weight and my jeans wear.
right. But as you get older, your
Yes, Joe.
telomeres.
I got my jeans at Goodwill.
But as you get older, your telomeres start to fray and they start to give way, and you start having problems in health that normal aging signs that take place. So they thought, okay, maybe we can reverse this by like blood leaching and these things, or blood replacement, where they could replace older people's blood with younger people. Well, now what it has become, and this is it becomes a very ethical situation, because what people want is, and Sergey Brin in particular, they want your brain to be captured. They want your physical, biological body to be done away with. They want to be able to upload your memory, your thoughts, your emotions, and all those things, because they take place in the brain, onto some kind of a computer system, a motherboard or something or other. And then, and it's called Project 2045. They're expecting this to happen by 2045. So you're essentially going to be able to say, I want to be on a yacht out in the middle of nowhere, and your brain gets uploaded into an avatar. Now, I know this sounds really wild, right? All this stuff, the search for immortality and all that stuff, it sounds really silly. My real qualm and question to you guys ethically is not, is immortality something we should seek or should we not seek, but what is the potential? Do we think that this could happen in our lifetime, especially with, you're talking about, one of these guys in particular has $42.8 billion. He gives $50 million a year to each university for research in this department. They've already been able to do things like 3D print organs and then implant them, right? 3D print biological organs and implant them into people, and they work. Yeah, they work. So do we think that this is a possibility, especially within our lifetime, if not within the next, 100 years or so? And then the ethical question beyond that is, should we or should we not?
Okay, so
I don't think the ethical question is there at all. No.
Okay, Joe, I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit. I think on the whole I agree with you, but I'm gonna put it to you like this. Let's think years ago, before modern medicine was invented, and people had these diseases, people had these pains and aches and things that they couldn't get rid of, that they had no means to get rid of, and everything they tried and tried and tried, it didn't take it away. Well, then modern medicine was created, and we've found that through taking these pills or whatever it may be, that you can get rid of that said illness. Now, going back, if you knew that you had the potential to prolong your life by taking away something that was going bad, or making something inside you that was going bad reverse or change, nowadays we don't think twice about it. But then I can imagine there might have been people that thought, well, I don't know about taking these pills. I don't think that's right. I don't know if that's ethically sound to take this stuff that we don't even know what it is.
He's a witch! Burn him!
Well, I don't know. I think that the difference, we're not talking about being able to cure something. We're talking about being able to create life. And
no.
Well,
no,
yeah,
no,
I mean, there's only...
you're thinking about...
That's what Daniel's talking about. We're not talking about healing somebody.
No, we're talking about altering what you are, okay?
He's talking about prolonging life, preventing death.
He's talking about taking your brain, put it in a robot.
Okay, hold on. Let me clarify something real quick, guys.
That's what I took out of it.
So, well, that's one of the 5 billionaires' approach to this, right? It's that, like I said, that's called the 2045 project, in which he believes that we will be uploading human consciousness into computer systems by 2045. That's one aspect of it. Now, the second aspect, and I should have brought this up already, but it's kind of been, you guys have kind of put it out there, is that some of the other guys want healthy life prolonging, right? So instead of aging in a way that is kind of graceful, and you start moving towards death at the same pace as everyone else. We're not talking about having diseases and things. We're talking about just normal, healthy life expectancy being prolonged. And when in the article, they did interview a bunch of ethicists, a bunch of ethical professors about this situation. And well, here was their response, okay? And so medically speaking, I don't know what he's laughing at. So
He's laughing at the word ethicists.
No,
so
ethical professors.
yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
never mind.
so anyway, um, the answer that was given was that instead of at a healthy rate of aging, which also your body starts to break down and you move into death gracefully, that what's going to happen is that you're going to stay in this youthful state for say like 100+ years, and then all of a sudden you're going to have a major organ failure and you're going to die. It's going to be a horrible way to go. It's going to be full of pain, and it's going to be all of a sudden. So it may be like a healthy life prolonging type thing that happens, but then death's going to come in a completely
I think
different
they need to
fashion.
take baby steps. First, cure heart disease and cure cancer, then we'll talk. How's that for an answer? You know what I mean? And I don't see those being cured in 2045. So you
Joe,
hate to
here.
break it.
Joe, you said absolutely no way. What was your reasoning behind that?
I don't think they're going to achieve immortality. I think they might be able to prolong life. They might be able to,
Right.
to make it to where people are living instead of the average life now, or whatever, 75, whatever it is now, the average and median. I know it's different for different ethnicities and all that, different for men and women, but I think they might be able to prolong life. I don't think they're ever going to find immortality. I mean, no matter what you do, something that's living is going to die. That's what
That's how God created it.
that's what it's founded upon. Everything that lives dies. If it didn't die, it wouldn't be alive to begin with.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think it'll be something where we'll ever be able to achieve that immortality idea. I think the idea of uploading a consciousness into a computer, I don't think that's ever going to be able to be successful because of the organic material that your brain is trying to transition.
They did it in surrogates. Bruce Willis did it.
What were you going to say, Joe?
Possible. I heard about that. What does that look like?
Well, I could be wrong, but I think with the problems they used to have running into with changing, because they've done, it might not be publicized, but they've done animal head transplants. They've done it. They have. There was a documentary I actually watched about that, about a guy.
About animal head transplants?
Yes. They've spliced. They've done animal splicing and put in. There was a guy. What's that guy's name? He actually spliced together he put like a dog's head onto a cow, or a dog's head onto a pig or something, and
It lived?
yeah, it lived for a few days. It lived temporarily. They never could. The problem they've had, though, they never could, when they actually talk about changing one head for another, is the spinal cord. They have, the spinal, they can't, at the time, they weren't able to attach the spinal cord properly to where the new head could control the neurons and neurological patterns of the body. It couldn't control the muscles. It couldn't.
The nucleus.
The nucleus. I wish I could think of that guy's name. And Daniel, what Daniel was talking about, the whole immortality thing, there's actually a documentary on Netflix right now. I can't think of what it's called.
It's got Peter Kurzweil in it. He's kind of the forefront, and he's actually been so Peter Thiel, the guy, he's in Los Angeles. He was one of the lesser knowns of the billionaires in here, but he's actually been hired as one of the heads of research for one of these billionaires. So it's something that's being talked about. And to your point, Kyle, about not ever being able to upload consciousness, the thing is they will be able to they will be able to do what they're searching for. It's not going to work in the same fashion, but I will say this. There has been a PC already, it has already been built, and it has been they've made public statements about it, that can do the equivalent of 1% of the human brain. Right, it functions, and it's got some kind of the name has a relationship to the human brain. I can't remember what they call it now, but it can do the things that a human brain can do at 1% of it.
The medulla oblongata.
I knew that was coming. But also, it's also running on biological material, if whatever that is. Something that we are made up of, it is being used to run this computer. Now, with Moore's law stating that your density of transistors and all this stuff, your speed doubles every 2 years, with that being said, in the next 20 years, you're going to reach 10% of the human brain, which is what we function at.
That's not the same law. You're talking about physical silicon transistors on a microchip. You're not talking about biological materials.
Right, but
soul.
I'm saying it is a PC that functions as a PC, but it's using biological material to run it. Now, however that's done, I don't know, and whatever capacity that's ran at, I don't know, because I haven't been able to research that.
Well, here's the thing, though. When you've got something that's artificial intelligence, even if you give it some type of consciousness, it's still going to have the type of consciousness that is programmed into it, is it not? I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not going to have its own original. No matter how they do it, I don't think they're going to be able to create its own. Everybody has every human being
for itself.
Right. Every human being, it might think for itself, but it's going to think for itself based on the guidelines it's been programmed
based on the
into it.
parameters are set.
Right.
Exactly.
And see, and that brings up like the probably biggest and final question that I'll ask out of this is, if by some chance it was to happen to where they say we've uploaded a human consciousness and we're functioning in avatars, our brain is like our consciousness is aware inside of an avatar, is that a human being? Are we human beings at that point?
Humans aren't just a conscience. I mean, they're not just a. We're not just a brain and I don't. Those beings have no souls.
Right.
Soul.
Exactly.
A brain in a bottle has no soul. A machine has no soul. It does what it's told, and that's it.
Right. That's the thing you get into. It's not going to have morals. It's going to have whatever it is told to think is right and wrong and good and bad. It's not gonna interpret what is, it might see somebody kill somebody, and it's not gonna interpret that as being bad. It might interpret it as being, oh well, I've never seen that before. That's error.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I won't be able to judge
no,
the
what is
difference
it
between good and
GPSs
bad.
do? Reconfiguring.
Have y'all seen the movie Chappie?
I have not.
No.
This is pretty much what that movie's about.
Yeah, no thanks.
It's actually a pretty good movie.
Wasn't Kyle going to do something else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Quick fire.
Okay, let's move on to our quick shots.
So this is just for everybody else out there to kind of get to know us a little bit better. These are some random questions that I have come up with that are just, really quick things. It may tell you a little bit more about us. It may just tell you kind of more about our personality, but here we go. First
Lord.
question for everyone. This will be a quick one. Would you rather eat a wad of hair or drink a bottle of shampoo?
Drink a bottle of shampoo.
Shampoo.
I think I'd rather go for the shampoo too.
Shampoo.
I tried to choke down that hair. I think, dude, shampoo's nasty.
Hair
Dude,
in my
can't-
mouth makes me gag.
Yeah, I can't handle getting hair in my mouth. It's just
Dude.
awful.
Toss some ketchup on that bad boy. You can choke that down.
Oh, that's even worse. Now put hot sauce on it, and now we can talk.
Oh no.
We got a guy in our midst
you
that
guys
gags
can
when he
go.
brushes his teeth. You're talking
guys-
about
Yes.
putting hair in there.
You guys can go have a lunch date. You big hair. I'll be over in the corner drinking my glass of shampoo.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, I'd have a hard time drinking some shampoo. Ooh.
Oh, yes. All right.
It may burn when you pee a little bit, but I sure would drink it over eating hair.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Question number 2. What is the pet peeve that bothers you the most?
Oh, Kyle, to be the one to ask this question is genius.
Yes. That's why I brought it up.
Me, biggest
Daniel.
pet peeve for me is when I'm talking and someone interrupts. That is my biggest pet peeve because my brain doesn't work very much anymore, and so when I'm trying to make a point and I get distracted, it drives me crazy. But I still love you guys. What's
I
up,
love
buddy?
you too.
Hayden, say hi.
Hi.
Hey, Hayden.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Aiden, what's up, bud?
They all
Is
said
that
hi.
Joe?
That's Kyle, and Brad. He's a big green ball.
Hey, Hayden.
Daniel
Hey,
and Joe.
buddy.
What's up, bud?
Oh, Daniel.
All right, Daniel, I want to
Where's
hear what
the
yours.
He's
My biggest pet
Who's
peeve.
that?
That's Daniel.
That's a good question, man. Hey, Hayden. Hey, hey. How are you guys?
That's
Um,
Uno's family.
No.
To be honest
Hey,
with
hey.
you, it's probably whispering voices. I like the sound of whispering voices.
Yes.
It is. Now, I will say, I'll say this also. Like any kind of mouth noises that are, yeah, that's them. Yeah. Okay.
Just so everyone knows, this plays special to my heart because
Small,
I have small little tics that I do when we play games
and
online
they're
together,
audible.
and Daniel
Every one of
loves
them are audible.
all.
If you could strangle a guy through the internet, I'd have done it.
All right, Brad, what's yours?
Do we lose Brad?
No, I'm here. I was just thinking, that's tough. Yeah, there's so many. There's so many that come to mind.
Is it just being with people?
Yeah, people in general. No, one of my biggest pet peeves is if I do something for somebody, whether that be small, large, whether we talked about this before. Like if I hold a door for somebody and they just completely ignore me, you don't have to. I don't want you to throw me a banquet and have balloons and party music and dance. But just a small head nod or a thank you or just anything. I hate people. I guess I hate people's the whole attitude of everything you do for them is deserved and entitled.
Right.
I completely agree with that too,
That's
Brad.
fair.
I agree.
All right, Joe, you're up.
The small audible ticks is probably it. Like, I mean, it's in all seriousness, like listening to you do it over Xbox Live is only one element of it. Like listening to people chomp on food and that it's repetitive. Listening to the guy in the cubicle next to me chew gum, yeah, I can hear him chew gum over the cube wall because he smacks that loud. Oh man,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so mine is nothing like y'all's at all. Mine is, how T-shirts, when you hang them up, the hem part at the bottom, when that folds up, or people wear their shirt out in public, and the hem part, like right at the very bottom, folds up, and it's like all around their shirt, that bugs the snot out of me.
You definitely.
You are a woman.
You have Tourette's or something.
Yes, I do.
Do you mind showing everyone your purse on stream real quick?
I will. Let me go get it. Okay, question number 3. What is your perfect pizza?
Oh man, that's a good one. All right, I'll take this first. Uno and Brad are the food guys, so I'll let them go last.
Like Subway.
No. Okay, so for me, it is a thick crust, but with a lot of cheese, a little bit of tomato sauce on it, and every meat that's available to be put on it. I'm very basic. I'm very basic like that. I love my vegetables, but I typically don't like them on my pizza. I can eat them that way, but I just normally don't like them on there.
All right, that's fair.
My favorite pizza is a barbecue sandwich. I hate pizza. I don't like pizza.
You can make a calzone out of that barbecue sandwich.
Give me
Joe,
some
you
good
like-
pulled pork,
you-
man.
Okay, what about dessert pizza, Joe?
Apple cinnamon,
All
maybe.
right. All right, there you go. All right, we're finding something. Sir Uno.
Okay, this is a tough question because I love pizza, but
Jared loves food in general.
Yeah. Probably just a good, New York style crust. I like Chicago style, the deep dish stuff too, but just a good crust with a little, good tomato sauce, fresh tomatoes, diced Roma tomatoes, fresh mozzarella, and basil. It's called a margarita pizza. That's it, man. That's my favorite.
That sounds delicious.
If that's done well, I also like red onions on it. But just a regular margarita pizza done well is my favorite type of pizza to eat. I like all the meats and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, man. I like all that stuff, but just a good fresh margarita pizza is my favorite.
All right, and Brad.
Mine's the Chicago style deep dish, thick crust. I like a lot of sauce, a lot of extra cheese, and then I'm a supreme guy minus a couple things. I don't like black olives, don't like anchovies, but I want pepperonis, I want Italian sausage, I want cooked red onions, I want banana peppers. Did I say jalapenos? Because if I did, I want more of those.
Yeah,
you're a good man, Charlie Brown.
Yes.
That sounds really good.
And I'm gonna.
All right.
There's bacon. I want bacon. I want ham.
Ooh.
I could probably keep going, but that's good enough.
I'm going to put a resounding yes to Brad's and say that is mine, except make it a thin crust, and then that is perfect.
Ooh.
Delicious. All right, that was question.
I got one. Peanut butter and jelly.
Oh my gosh.
Joe, you're
No, if I have to eat pizza, I either like pineapple and ham,
all right,
or a supreme.
Okay, all right, very good. Okay, let's go with. Oh, and by the way, Brad, completely with you on the black olives. They're disgusting.
Yeah, me too. I hate black olives.
Yeah,
Love me some
Hate
black
them.
olives.
no
I would eat
olives.
a black
Oh,
olive
you
pizza.
black olive lovers.
I hate all the black olives in the whole world.
Me too.
Get them black olives out of my face.
Get that olive out of my face.
Okay, question number 4. How do you drink your coffee?
Oh,
With my mouth.
grief.
Oh,
One
yes.
sip at a time.
And I deserve that.
The literal response from Joe.
All right,
I
so
drink
I'll
it.
start this off. Go ahead, Brad.
Oh,
Or Daniel.
I drink it heavy cream and heavy sugar. I like it sweet, and I don't like it to taste. The really dark roast I can't do. Anything that's too bitter and dark I can't do. So I like a light roast, and I like heavy cream, heavy sugar.
Joe.
Yeah, I like cream enough to take the acid off of it, kind of make it a smooth drink, and I usually get one Splenda in mine. A little bit of sweet in there.
Jared.
Black. I don't like sugar or half and half or anything like that in my coffee. I just like coffee to taste good.
Bradley.
I haven't put cream on. I haven't been drinking coffee very long. I used to hate all types of coffee, but I recently found a kind that I like, and it's there's three levels of it. There's the light, then the heavy, or the medium, I think it's called, and then there's the dark roasted. I actually do like the dark roasted the best, and I'll put it depends. If I have Splenda, I'll put 3 Splendas in it. If I have real sugar, I'll put two teaspoons of sugar in it. No cream.
Some strumpets.
Yes.
If I know Mary like I think I do.
She'll
I have
have
to
me
say
in for
that-
10 strumpets.
I have to say that Uno had it correct. The correct answer is black. All right, on to question number
Correct answer.
That is
What in the world? Is this
The
a
at
line
five.
in any way where you're
That
giving out
is
points that don't matter?
correct.
Are you
Last
talking about the best
question.
way to wear it?
5. Last question for the quick
Hey,
fire.
I think the
Or
best
quick
answer
shots.
for Joe should say is through
Quick
a
shots.
little tiny straw.
Yes.
Don't you diss
Okay.
that straw? I get my flavor a little at a time, and it's delicious for a long
I was going
time.
to tell you this right now. I'm anti-straw. I hate drink. The only thing that should come through a straw is a milkshake. Nothing else should be drank through a straw. So don't even get me started on that. I'm
Okay,
telling you,
last
it
question.
goes
Here
from
we go, here we
if your iced tea is 40 degrees in your cup, by the time it gets to the straw, it's 80. That's a scientific fact, Jack. All right, go, Kyle. Sorry.
Are you drinking out of a 90-foot long straw?
No, I hate straws. I hate them.
It's a scientific.
It's a swirly one that goes through. Like
I hate them. I'm not being serious, but I mean, I really do. It seems like it's not as cold coming through the straw. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that, Uno. All right, our last question. Would you rather be without elbows or without knees?
That's easy.
Elbows.
Elbows.
You can't bend your arm.
Knees.
Well, you can't walk without knees.
Yes, you can. Just walk
I don't need to
like,
bend my
all the way.
arms. I just need them to be. I just have to sit far enough away from a computer to do my job.
You know how hard it is to go to the bathroom
I'm
without
going with
knees,
knees on
though?
that one.
You know how hard it is to unzip your fly without elbows?
Well,
No.
you don't wear a fly. You just wear shorts. Like gym shorts. You just pull them down, straight arm. Use your knees.
How are you gonna? It's real.
Hard to wipe, though.
It's a real predicament. Without elbows, you can't wipe. Without knees, you can't sit on the toilet.
You can sit on the commode. You can sit on the commode, but your legs are just sticking straight out front.
Kyle, can I say one elbow and one knee? Can we do that?
You'd look like you were saluting Hitler. Yeah.
This is a good question because, one important thing is being able to wipe and being able to wash yourself. And with straight arms, I doubt that's going to happen. You have to hire somebody to do it for you. You can't pay somebody enough to clean me up. I'm telling you.
You just have to do the rhino tail with your hand, where you just put it back there and wave it real fast.
I'd have to get a bidet with a freaking fire hose on it.
That's a good one there.
And that wraps up our trick shots.
All right, guys, that is this week's episode. This is the inaugural episode, so leave a comment below, like the channel, and let us know what kind of topics interest you. What can we talk about in upcoming episodes? Thanks so much. Have a good night, and rack 'em.
Rack 'em. See you guys.
Rack ball.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
All right. Bye, folks.